Well, hello, and welcome back. So we just hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel, and I want to thank every single one of you guys for subscribing. It isn't the biggest, number for a YouTube channel. I mean, certainly we have 3 Blue 1 Brown, we have Steve Brunton, we have Numberphile, and all these guys.
Dude, is yours anything like this?
Mine was like this, but take away the Jeep, plain. Imagine it way smaller. Imagine a futon. I feel sad for this guy.
So, we're not the biggest YouTube channel out there, but I love having you guys here, and I appreciate the time that you guys put into watching my videos. And so, today I thought I'd take a break from the usual content, and let's do a little bit of DIY, and I'll show you how to make your own mathematical YouTube channel. Now, if I was more organized, like the Tim Traveler, who actually asked a whole bunch of questions to his 600 or so audience to pose a whole bunch of questions that he could answer when he hit 1,000. I mean, now he's at 200,000. But yeah, I am not that organized. And so today I thought I'd just talk to you about the things I've learned from making this YouTube channel, talk to you about the future of our channel, and show you how to do some stuff with the open broadcasting software, which is something I've come to recently, and it helps me put together some high quality videos really, really fast. And so if you are coming from nothing, then it could help you get something set up in even just like an hour. So I'll talk about that at the end of the video, and in the meantime, let's talk about this channel.
He always said it could have been anyone behind the mask. He was just a kid who happened to get fit.
Can I return it if it doesn't fit?
It always fits. Eventually.
It's really hard for me to watch my early videos. There was like horrible lighting, the camera setup wasn't very good, the editing was non-existent, and the audio was just trash. And so it's taken a lot to figure out exactly how to put everything together in order to make sort of a quality video that people would actually enjoy watching. So now I've actually settled on, say, about 3 different styles of presentation. I have my regular ones where I sort of do over-the-top editing, put in special effects, and add in like movie clips and things like that. And those take a lot of time to build. I mean, it would sometimes even take 3 or 4 days of just filming, editing, re-recording, going over and over again until I got it just right. Then I have another style that I do where I basically just talk into a microphone, my Blue Yeti, and I will just not have myself talking at a camera, but rather just have equations show up on the screen. And that's for stuff that I want to do that are a lot more technical. And so sometimes I feel like if I want to talk about this stuff properly, I need to remove my face from the recording and do it that way. And then I have another one where I just sort of jabber like I'm giving a talk. And so this is what I use open broadcasting software for. And I've learned how to use it well enough now that I can do it without making it look like it's too different from my other videos. So I can still have equation overlays, I can have animations and things like that that all show up live with a few keystrokes. And so I'll show you how to do that a bit later. So now, why don't we go ahead and get into the whys, the whats, what do I do with the camera setup, where are these lights I use, and all that, and well, how do I make a video? And so this is going to be a lot of fun to get into, and yeah, well, let's just start talking about it.
All right, kid, you win. Come on, we don't have a second to lose. I love this burger. It's so delicious. One of the best burgers I've ever had. In my universe, this place closed 6 years ago.
So let's start with the why. Why should you bother with a YouTube channel? I mean, you're an academic, you know some mathematics, maybe you're a graduate student, and you have better things to be doing. You could be writing your dissertation, you should be writing papers, you have grant money to bring in. Like, why waste the time, hours and hours of time on YouTube? And, well, the first reason is it's fun. I mean, playing with recording, practicing your speech, working on organizing an informative lecture that is also concise, well, that's part of being an academic. But the biggest reason would be for the amount of people you can reach. For your research, a conference talk lasts about 20 minutes to half an hour, and once it's done, that's it. If you've had 7 people show up, then those 7 people are the ones who saw your hours and hours of work that went into making that talk. And that's happened to me. I mean, that was so disappointing. There was a big guy who was talking at like a parallel session, and nobody came to see what I did. I had my wife in the room who came for moral support, and you know, those 7 people in the room that saw that lecture, that was it. That was all the time I put into it. I haven't really given that talk again, and that's it. It's gone. Now, if you put something up on YouTube, and you put all that work into YouTube, then it's up for all time, and hundreds of people can see it at their discretion. And my research talks, each of them have hundreds of views, and that is more than the people I would have reached if I went to a conference, even if I was like a big guy. And honestly, that's even more than the number of people who attend some of the conferences I go to. And then another reason why you would do YouTube, well, you teach classes, you organize a lecture, you get just the right arguments to put in there to communicate the ideas to your students, and you already have all that material in your head. Is it that much harder to just sit in front of a camera and just blab it out real quick? You can reach thousands, and for my really basic videos, I see them constantly being watched and on my top views for a day. Things like the gradient descent method, that is a simple video that took me like 20 minutes to make. And also the Intro to Numerical Analysis class. That lecture has been seen by over 2,000 people at this point, and by the time this video comes out, it might even cross 3,000, and who knows how big that's going to get as the channel gets larger. And so these are the reasons why I think you should do YouTube. You get your name out there, people see your work, people get to know who you are, and you can help other people learn what you do, and you can help students learn how to do math better. Alright, so now here's the fun technical bit. So video production. What do you need in order to make these videos? So you don't need a fancy camera. I mean, if you really want to start off with your cell phone and a little like tiny cell phone tripod, go for it. That will get you 90% of what you want. A lot of cell phones nowadays record at 1080p or even 4K. You can just press record and start your YouTube channel. The biggest thing that took me a while to really figure out was lighting. Lighting really changes everything. If you have a couple of lights that you invest in, so I have a couple of newer lights, a pair of these costs 40 bucks. They connect to USB and they're super bright and they really illuminate a room. My wife got me a ring light that is pretty handy. It helps evenly illuminate my face, and I can put my cameras right through it if I want to record. It took me a little bit before I was able to figure out exactly how to make that better, but after now doing this for a couple years, I think this is a pretty good setup to converge on. Now, as far as the cameras go, I personally use the Canon T6i for most of my videos. It shoots 1080p, and so it does high definition, and yeah, it works out pretty well. I have a few lenses with it now, but the stock lens will actually get you pretty far. And I now have a wide angle lens if I want to show the entire room and show what a mess my office is. And I have a telephoto lens, well, that's mainly for just, you know, taking pictures of birds while I'm in my backyard. But all in all, if you just have the Canon Rebel T6i, which is now, I think, up to a T7i or T8i now, those are excellent cameras to be working with. And I think the later models actually record in 4K. I also have a Canon SL3. That one actually shoots at 4K, and it's a nice lighter camera than my T6i. And so it's actually technically a better camera. These are more or less the tools I use for doing all my recording and my video production, and yeah, I mean, they're a lot of fun. But of course, this is a math channel, and you're not going to have mathematics without having an equation or two written up. And so it's taken me a while to figure out the best way to display mathematics equations. I tried in my early videos to just sort of go over the top, do things like LaTeX and Photoshop for every single overlay, and that just ended up eating up way too much time. All I do now is I go into my tablet and I sketch out some equations, I take a screenshot, I use GoodNotes, and I then send that screenshot to my computer. I'm on a Mac, so that means I use AirDrop, and then I just bring that in. I use Premiere for editing, and to make it look fancy, I invert it so that it has a black background. I feel that looks nicer, and then I set it to a transparency of about 90 opacity. But you don't even have to go that far. If you really just want to get an equation up on the screen, you can write on your tablet, take a screenshot, and then pitch it up there, and that's good. You could use LaTeX if you want, but I feel like it doesn't end up looking as good as what I would hope, and it keeps things a little bit more informal when I use handwritten notes. Now, if you want to go really into this stuff and see what sort of math visuals you can do, you can check out 3 Blue 1 Brown's videos, and he actually provides all of the software that he makes in order to do all those mathematical equations, and that's called Manim. And so if you go to his subreddit, you can find out a lot of information there. Also on his website, he gives Manim away for free, and it's a Python package, and so you can play with that there. And I prefer to keep my things pretty simple. I just want to be able to record and then just sketch things up. I don't want to sit at a computer and code for too long. I want my coding to be dedicated to actually my research, so I'll save that effort for more productive pursuits. But I think personally, using handwritten notes, it gets the ideas across, just as long as you keep your handwriting, nice. Now, if you look at my channel, I do have some live recordings where I actually screen recorded my iPad as I was writing out equations. I hooked up a microphone and I would just talk through everything as I was writing. And this was more in the style of a regular classroom lecture. And I found that with that, my YouTube analytics said that a lot of people just stopped watching the second those screens came up. And so I've been looking for other ways to keep things a lot more engaging and to keep things from becoming a little bit too dull. I have turned to just doing these sort of deep dive audio sessions, and where I'll throw equations up rather than just writing them. So one thing a lot of people ask me about is where the music comes from. In every one of my video descriptions, I give credits to all the songs and artists that I use, and a lot of these come from YouTube's Creator Studio, so they give you access to free music that you can use on their platform. And a lot of the songs that I pulled from there are made by Dan Henig. Dan Henig made the original song that was my opening. He also wrote the song Sunrise in Paris, which I use for my MATLAB videos. I also use Epidemic Sound a good deal, and so if you're willing to pony up about $15 a month, you can have access to a huge music library with all sorts of genres and even sound effects. And my newest opening is Come Together by Ooyy, and that's where that came from. And also I use Video Call from Los Angeles, and that is by Trevor Kowalski. And then aside from those two sources, I also reached out to another academic named Craig Hardgrove. Craig Hardgrove, like me, is a fan of Bungie's early video game Marathon, and this is a game from 1994. And he has made a lot of covers of the music from that game, and I reached out to him when I was first setting up or teaching my differential equations class through my YouTube channel, and I asked him if he would be okay if I used his music there. I use Craig Hardgrove's music with permission, and in particular, I use his Guardians Plus tech to close out every single video that I have on the channel. So that brings us to audio. So I have two main microphones I end up using. When I'm using my camera, my T6i, I actually have a Rode shotgun microphone set up with it. And that ends up working fantastic for most of the applications I have in mind. And so as long as I'm talking at the camera, it picks up everything really good. It actually has a high pass filter if you want to cut out low frequency content. And Rode also sells some microphones for your cell phones. Now, when I'm recording things like this, like right here, I am using the Blue Yeti. And so the Blue Yeti, I think, is about $150 or so, and there's a Yeti Nano that runs $100. And the audio that you get out of this is exceptional. I don't have a professional studio setup, and I'm not interested in doing like anything fancy with my recordings, but I do want to be able to record something that is fairly high quality. And so, yeah. I have this Blue Yeti, and my wife uses a Yeti Nano. It's excellent quality audio out of both of them. Okay, so that covers how I make these videos, or at least somewhat. And now, what are the videos I'm going to be making over the next year? I know I've recruited a lot of people into this channel by going over my data-driven methods in dynamical systems class, and this is where I went into a really deep dive on what dynamic mode decompositions are, system identification, the Cindy algorithm, and regression methods, and all these other good things. And I don't want to abandon that. But I do also have a bunch of people who've been here since I did my differential equations lectures or numerical analysis, and I consistently see a lot of people who are interested in more information like that. So I'm going to end up trying to satisfy everybody all at once, and well, we know how all that works out. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to set out 3 to 4 videos every month over this next year, depending on my time. And the basic idea is that I want to start each month with some really basic stuff. So talk about fundamental calculus concepts, fundamental differential equations, talk about linear algebra, you know, all these basic 101 mathematics things that every mathematician should know about. And say the second week, I would like to go into things that are a little bit more upper division undergraduate and maybe or beginning graduate student type material, and this would be things like analysis 101 or some measure theory, you know, things like that. And there's a lot of really cool stuff that we can talk about there, because I'm a mathematician. I got into this stuff because I love studying it, and I'd hate to just only talk to you about things that are just of current research interest and maybe only a few people would care about. But I do love talking about my research. If you ever taught a professor that you'd love to hear what they do, well, they can talk your ear off for hours, and I have hours and hours more of content that I would like to share with you. And so that's something else I would like to do too. So I'm going to continue on this whole data-driven methods and dynamical systems, my operator theory stuff, reproducing kernel Hilbert spaces, machine learning, all these good things. I would like to keep talking about that, and so at least once a month I want to have a good solid over-edited, you know, movie clips and all that good stuff video that I'll put out to you guys. And that's the stuff I really love diving into, and I want to keep doing that because, you know, it's just a lot of fun doing this. And then in the fourth week, you know, basically I want to talk about, you know, things like this, like how do you make these videos, professional development stuff, how do you write grants. I want to talk to you about, you know, writing research statements, you know, how to organize lectures, you know, anything like that. And so for that fourth week, it's sort of going to be a miscellaneous thing. Maybe I'll do an academic over-analysis. I haven't done one of those in a while, but I really have a lot of really fun ideas there. And so I would like to just leave that as sort of a wild card sort of day where we can, you know, talk and do pretty much anything that is just vaguely related to academics, mathematics, or, you know, just for fun. Okay, so this is all being done through open broadcasting software. And so right now I have my T6i hooked up through the HDMI port going into an HDMI to USB capture card, and this is being fed into my computer. Now you don't need to do that in particular if you want to use OBS. In fact, OBS can just use your webcam. So I have my webcam up here and I can switch to it dynamically, as you just saw, and this works out just fine. I mean, this is the webcam on my iMac Pro, and yeah, I mean, you can get really fancy webcams that actually record 4K nowadays, and so it works better than my T6i. So if you don't want to invest in a T6i in order to do all this stuff, you don't have to. So this is OBS, and this is what I'm doing. And so let me show you, you know, basically, you know, some things I can do with this. So one of the cool things I can do is I can switch to MATLAB dynamically. And so in MATLAB, I can go ahead and have my opening here, just like this. And then I have my camera that has been tucked away into this little corner up here. And I have my MATLAB in the mornings loop in the background. So, you know, that works out there. But more importantly, I have my MATLAB window. And yeah, that's a good spot. And I even make it so that if I run MATLAB, then once it comes through, it can put up figures and I can capture the figures here in OBS, and I just tell OBS to look for a window called figure 1, and so then that's what it does. And so OBS allows me to connect all these elements in there, you know, dynamically and fairly easily. And if I want to switch over to something, and this was something I organized for an NSF program manager, I can come in here and I can show them a slideshow. These are all PNGs that are like 1080p, and I just have a slight transparency. So each one of these frames is a whole picture that's 1080p, and I just add more and more to it. Okay, and so if I want to give a presentation, I can, you know, use the slideshow feature and just put all my slides in here and just go through there, and I can put myself on top of them, or in here I just have them over top of myself and it has them as image overlays. If you want to do a slide presentation, you can do that same sort of thing where I captured the MATLAB window, and you can have it capture PowerPoint or something else that you like. Now let me real quick show you how you can go ahead and, you know, make a new scene. So the scenes are how you jump from one thing to another. So this scene has these elements. So it has my HDMI capture card with my DSLR, it has my Blue Yeti microphone, and it has everything else. Now I can go in here and make a new scene, and I'll just say it is a test scene. and you won't hear a thing I'm going to say unless I add my Blue Yeti microphone. So what you can do then is you just go into your scene, and so this is our test scene, and then inside the test scene you add in various things. So here I'm going to go in and I'm going to add a video capture, and so here I have a video capture device. I am not recording enough so you can see me doing this, but adding a video capture device, I can come in here and I can say I want my webcam. So boom, there we go. Now webcam you can resize however you want, move it anywhere you like, and yeah, that's pretty easy. If I want to add something else, like let's say I want to add in a window, there's something called window capture in here, and if I go into add a window, I can say add MATLAB window, or if I want to create a new one, I can say okay, and it'll ask me to go and just find a window to go in and collect from, and so I don't see anything that, oh, here we go. Here's MATLAB, and there we go. And so then the MATLAB window might be a little too big to start, and so let's go ahead and shrink it down, and there we go. Now I have MATLAB available, and I can scroll up and down here if I'd like. And if you're a gamer, this is where you put your game screen. Now there's other things you can do. You can add in media sources, and you can add in pictures, you can add in slideshows, and yeah. And so if you want to do things really bare bone, these three items here that I have here, a window capture, a webcam, and a Blue Yeti microphone are really all you need. Well, you don't need a Blue Yeti microphone, but you just need a microphone source. And so basically, you need to be able to see who you are, you need to be able to talk, and also you need to have something else that you want to display. So here, for the window here, this is the MATLAB window I have up here, so if we want to talk MATLAB, this is a great way to talk about it. But if I wanted to instead have my PowerPoint slides or my Beamer slides or something else like that, I can just use my Acrobat or PowerPoint window and put that here. I can make myself small, and then I can go ahead and just make the PowerPoint big, and I can just put myself somewhere. If you want, you can save a little spot on there, and let's move my camera on top. There you go. And so then you can save a little spot on here, and you can put yourself somewhere. And I guess, so yeah, this will get you a really basic setup, and there's tons of really great resources on OBS's website and their forums. And so if you want to do this stuff yourself, then yeah, that's great. And I guess, so if you want to see more mathematics content, or you want to see stuff from me, or you want to hear about the process of academics, or if you want to see more of these editing videos, I mean, just ask and I'll put together something if there's enough demand. But in any case, please do subscribe, and yeah, until then, well, have a great day.